What is Angel Reese doing on the 50 most influential people as sports figures? Are you kidding me? A woman that rebounds and shows up half naked to games.
If you're going to put a black female from that league on that real estate, shouldn't it be Asia, not Angel Reese? Couple of things. I will say that about that cover with Miss Reese. It's an upgrade from some of the recent swimsuit edition cover models. I will give them that.
Angel Reese just got caught in a wild situation. You know how she's always talking about being more than just a basketball player? Well, she decided to show up in an outfit that's got everyone talking, and not in a good way. Imagine stepping onto the court and the crowd goes silent. That's what happened to Reese, but it wasn't because of her game. Picture this. Reese walks out wearing something that's practically see-through. It's so different from what other WNBA players usually wear, you'd think she was going to a party instead of a game. While most players focus on their skills, Reese is trying to make a statement. But here's the thing. This isn't just about one crazy outfit. It's part of Reese's bigger plan to stay in the spotlight. Remember that Sports Illustrated cover? Yeah, that was just the beginning. She's all over social media too, but we'll get to that later. You might think this bold move would pay off, right? Well, hold on to your seats, because what happened next is insane.
50 most influential sports figures. Listen to this, who's on this list. Simone Biles, Don Staley, Candace Parker, Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, Juju Watkins.
There's one player that is the common denominator. It's the one that you've jumped off the bandwagon, and I have to be the Asian driver steering it back on course. All of this has to do with Caitlin Clark.
Did you just listen to that? They're all virtually from the WNBA. A league that didn't matter 3 months ago now has 8 of the most influential people.
Let's just say things didn't go quite as planned for Angel Reese. Remember when I said things didn't go as planned for Angel? Well, that's putting it mildly. Her bold fashion choice opened up a whole can of worms about women's basketball, image, and what it means to be taken seriously as an athlete. As soon as Angel stepped out in that revealing outfit, social media lit up like a Christmas tree. Fans and critics alike couldn't stop talking about it. Some people were praising her confidence, while others were shaking their heads in disappointment. It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. You couldn't look away even if you wanted to.
So by having Angel Reese on the cover is like basically saying, again, that's the Caitlin Clark effect. All of those names you mentioned a year ago, I believe most of the general populace would not know who they are.
This expansion, they're drunk on Caitlin Clark. Kunta Kinte has them drunk and thinking, hey, we can now expand. And I think the rosters are 12. Caitlin Clark is the slave that's building the WNBA, and all these black women are climbing all over top of her and piggybacking her to relevance and money. She's Kunta Kinte.
But here's the thing. This wasn't just about one outfit. People started bringing up all of Angel's past controversies. Remember that trash-talking incident with Caitlin Clark? Yeah, that came back to haunt her. Suddenly everyone was questioning her motives. Was she trying to make a statement about women's empowerment? Or was this just another publicity stunt? You know what's really wild? Angel's been complaining about being objectified in the past, but now she's out here wearing outfits that leave little to the imagination. It's like she's playing both sides of the fence. On one hand, she wants to be taken seriously as an athlete. On the other, she's pushing this sexy image that's got everyone talking. This whole situation has sparked a huge debate in the world of women's basketball. People are asking, can you be a serious athlete and a fashion icon at the same time? Some say Angel's just being true to herself, expressing her personality through her style. Others argue that she's undermining the credibility of the sport. The craziest part? All this drama is taking attention away from Angel's actual game. Instead of talking about her rebounds or her scoring average, everyone's focused on what she's wearing off the court. It's like her fashion choices are overshadowing her athletic abilities. You've got to wonder if this is what Angel had in mind when she decided to make such a bold statement. Did she think it would boost her popularity, or did she underestimate how much backlash she'd get? Either way, it's clear that her plan didn't quite work out the way she hoped. This whole situation has got people questioning the balance between personal branding and athletic focus in women's sports. Is it possible to maintain a strong public image without compromising your credibility as an athlete? That's the million-dollar question that Angel's outfit has everyone asking. Just when you think you've got the WNBA figured out, along comes a player who flips the script. Caitlin Clark is making headlines, but not for the reasons you might expect. What's her secret to building a strong public image without relying on controversial tactics? Let's talk about Caitlin Clark for a minute. While Angel Reese is out there turning heads with her bold fashion choices, Clark is quietly dominating the court and winning hearts. It's like they're playing two completely different games off the court. You know what's crazy? Clark doesn't need flashy outfits or attention-grabbing stunts to get noticed. She's all about that classic approach, focusing on her game and letting her skills do the talking. It's like watching a throwback to the old school days of basketball, but with a fresh twist. Imagine this. While Reese is stirring up drama on social media, Clark is busy perfecting her jump shot. She's not worried about how many likes her latest post got, or what outfit she's going to wear next. Nope, Clark is all about teamwork and sportsmanship. It's like she's on a mission to prove that you can be a superstar without all the extra noise.
WNBA Player of the Week. There have only been 40 triple-doubles in the history of the WNBA. Cheryl Swoops recorded the first WNBA triple-double during the 1999 season, while Caitlin Clark logged the most recent triple-double earlier this week. She now has 102 on the season and is 19 away from Diana Taurasi in second place and 26 away from UNESCO of the New York Liberty. She ain't beating Asia Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way.
And guess what? Fans are eating it up. They can't get enough of Clark's no-nonsense approach. It's like a breath of fresh air in a world that's obsessed with image and controversy. People are starting to realize that you don't need to be controversial to be interesting. But here's where things get really interesting. Sponsors are taking notice too. While Reese might be grabbing headlines, Clark is quietly building a rock-solid reputation. Companies are lining up to work with her because they know she's the real deal. It's like they're saying, we don't need drama, we want someone who represents the true spirit of the game. You want to know what's even crazier? Clark's approach isn't just good for her career, it's good for women's basketball as a whole. She's showing young girls that you can be successful and respected without compromising your values. It's like she's paving the way for a whole new generation of players who want to be known for their skills, not their scandals. But let's be real for a second. This isn't just about Clark versus Reese. It's about two different ways of approaching fame and success in women's sports. On one side, you've got the flashy, attention-grabbing style that Reese represents. On the other, you've got Clark's more traditional, game-focused approach. So here's the big question. Which approach is better for the future of women's basketball? Is it Reese's bold personal branding that keeps people talking? Or is it Clark's emphasis on sportsmanship and skill that will ultimately elevate the sport? It's not an easy question to answer. Both players are bringing attention to women's basketball, just in very different ways. Reese's approach might be grabbing headlines now, but will it have staying power? And while Clark's style might seem less exciting on the surface, could it be building a more solid foundation for the future of the sport? You know what's really wild? While everyone's busy talking about Reese's outfit and Clark's game, there's something huge happening in women's basketball that no one's talking about. It's like a ticking time bomb, and it's not about individual players. It's about the very soul of the sport. Think about this for a second. Reese's bold fashion choices aren't just affecting her career. They're shaping the entire future of women's basketball, and not in the way you might think. Young girls watching at home are seeing all this drama unfold, and it's changing how they view the sport. Imagine you're a kid dreaming of playing in the WNBA. You've got Reese on one side, turning heads with her outfits and stirring up controversy. Then you've got Clark on the other, letting her game do the talking. Which path do you choose? It's not just about personal style anymore.
She's the first rookie to win WNBA Player of the Month since the award's inception in 2010, and last night it was no exception. They were sky high for Caitlin Clark and the Fever, but to start the season, they had a little bit of a rough go of it. They lost their first 5 games. They ended up 1-8 through their first 9 games, and during that first month, the playoffs, they didn't feel realistic at all. Indy entered the Olympic break 11-15 on the year, and then they really turned it around. They've won 7 of their 8 since. They clinched a playoff berth for the first time since 2016, which, by the way, was the last year of Hall of Famer and franchise icon Tamika Catchings.
It's about what kind of role model you want to be. But here's where things get really crazy. This whole debate about personal branding versus athletic focus isn't just happening in women's basketball. It's blowing up all over women's sports. Reese and Clark, they're just the tip of the iceberg. You've got sponsors watching all this go down, trying to figure out where to put their money. Some are loving the attention Reese is bringing to the sport. Others are more interested in Clark's squeaky clean image. It's like a high-stakes game of chess, and these players are the pawns. Now, you might be thinking, so what? It's just a few players making headlines. But that's where you're wrong. This isn't just about Reese or Clark. It's about the entire future of the WNBA. Every headline, every controversy, every bold fashion choice. It's all shaping how people see women's basketball. Think about it. When was the last time women's basketball got this much attention? Reese's antics might be controversial, but they're getting people talking. And in a world where attention equals money, that's huge for the sport. But at what cost? On the flip side, you've got players like Clark showing that you can be successful without all the drama. She's proving that skill and hard work still matter, and that's sending a powerful message too. So here's the million-dollar question. What's better for women's basketball in the long run? The flashy, headline-grabbing approach of Reese, or the quiet consistency of Clark? It's not an easy question to answer. You've got to consider the impact on young players. Are we teaching them that controversy is the only way to get noticed? Or are we showing them that their skills on the court are what really matter? It's a tough balance to strike. And let's not forget about the fans. Some people love the drama. They can't get enough of Reese's bold moves. Others are turned off by it. They want to focus on the game, not the gossip. The WNBA has to figure out how to keep both groups happy. Speaking of keeping fans happy, Reese's next move left everyone stunned. Just when you thought the drama was over, she did something that flipped the whole narrative on its head. Instead of backing down or apologizing, Angel Reese doubled down on her bold choices. Can you believe it? She took to social media and basically said, "This is me, take it or leave it." But here's where things get wild. Reese's response wasn't just defiant, it was a mix of standing her ground and playing the victim card. She started talking about how she was being targeted, all while posting more attention-grabbing content. It's like she was trying to have her cake and eat it too. You know what's crazy? The public's reaction was all over the place. Some people were cheering Reese on, saying she was brave for being true to herself. Others were calling her out, saying she was being hypocritical. It was like watching a tennis match, with opinions bouncing back and forth. This whole thing sparked a huge debate about how WNBA players should present themselves. Some people were saying Reese was setting a bad example for young athletes. Others argued that she was breaking down barriers and challenging stereotypes. It's like the entire sports world was divided. But here's the kicker. All this controversy wasn't going away. In fact, it seemed like fans were getting tired of the whole thing. People started questioning whether Reese's strategy of constant controversy was really sustainable. It's like they were saying, "Okay, we get it. Can we talk about basketball now?" The craziest part? This wasn't just about Reese anymore. The entire WNBA was feeling the heat. Suddenly, everyone was asking questions about player image and what it means to be a role model in women's sports. It's like Reese's outfit choice had opened up a Pandora's box of issues. You want to know what's even wilder? Some players started changing how they presented themselves. It's like they saw what happened to Reese and thought, maybe I need to be more careful. But others went the opposite way, pushing the boundaries even further. It was like watching a fashion arms race in the WNBA. The league itself, they were stuck between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, all this attention was great for publicity. On the other, they had to worry about their image and the message they were sending to young fans. It's like they were trying to ride a wild bull without getting thrown off. This whole situation got people talking about the balance between personal expression and professional responsibility in sports. It's not an easy line to walk. You want players to be themselves, but you also need them to represent the league in a positive way. It's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded.